The Amazing Digital Circus is a show that I've always been fascinated with ever since episode 3. I didn't really care about it when it first came out, but seeing all the conversations of everyone saying that it's the best TV show to ever exist, it changed my life. I fell for the hype and I had to see what was going on. Doing that was one of the worst decisions that I have made. It started an addiction where I'm still not able to break out of it. I never really understand why. At first. When I first watched it, I just thought it was a mid-above average TV show that for whatever reason, I couldn't stop watching. My answer to this question ended up being solved when episode 7 ended up coming out. I remember that scene of me watching it perfectly. I was sitting down, watching it with my brother, having an amazing, beautiful family bonding moment. And after when the episode finished, when he went to go and talk to me, I already ran away like a cartoon character to sit down on this exact chair and rushed on the internet to see the community's reaction. I was scrolling the comment section and going on every social media site, seeing all of the hateful arguments that people were having because the episode made it look like that all of the theories that they came up with were just wrong. And that finally gave me the answer that I was looking for. I'm actually not really interested in the show. I'm more interested in everything else surrounding the show. The community, the dumb arguments that it caused, the theories, the music video, even the whole company that the show is under, Glitch, is far more fascinated than the Amazing Digital Circus. That's actually the most least interested part of this whole franchise, which is very sad to say out loud, but it's just true. Now I'm gonna completely ruin the structure of this script and just start off talking about Glitch. I was originally gonna save them for the end, but I just really have to talk about this whole space. So let me just get it out of the way and let's get all sloppy and dirty early.
Violence, you're the one for me. I'll steal your heart and then I'll crush it into smithereens. You're my special fella.
Glitch is one of the growing lists of companies that we are seeing all over the place that is LARPing to be an indie studio or production. They present themselves to be one of the little guys fighting back against the evil animation industry that has a monopoly over everything that we watch. That's why yes, you need to support everything that they do. Their Kickstarters, buying every single one of their merch that they already have pre-prepared when a new episode comes out on their amazing clickable moments. Come on, man, we all know that you're definitely gonna want to get a skinless Jax plush or maybe a little figure of him. And don't forget that you have to go and support all of their events that they have in real life to give them even more money. I mean, Jax burgers and Pomni pancakes don't buy themselves, and every single time when you spend your money on them, you are helping an indie company like them fight back against everything. The hope that they are shining on this industry is gonna blaze a path not for them but for everyone, and we're gonna change the world for a better place to fight back against the despair that all of these evil corporations has clouded over the world. Their disgusting gross minus energy will finally go away. That is the story that the community have gave them and Glitch plays into, and it is just a complete lie. Glitch is a studio that is supported by multiple different companies. One of them is literally being the Australian government. I'm not even saying that as a joke. Here's proof right here. This means that if you are in Australia, every single content farm and weird inflation art of the characters that exist is partly your fault. Your taxpayer dollars went to fund the creation of this.
I don't want to be here. I don't want to be alive anymore.
I hope you're proud of yourself, because I know I would be. Another notable company that partners with them is a very small studio known as Epic Games. You know, the people who own Unreal Engine and Fortnite, not really that big. They also worked with a company that helps Western IPs market to a Japanese audience, which is one reason why the Amazing Digital Circus is so big over there. And let us also not forget the connections that they have inside the animation industry and the market marketing space since they're able to get inside of big mall stores like Hot Topic. Combined with all the free promotion that they are getting from YouTubers talking about the show, reacting to it, and the money that they're making from it being on YouTube and the ad revenue, this company is the furthest thing from being a small indie production. I'm not going to say that they're like a real big, ginormous thing. No, that's just not true. And if anyone thinks that, you're just wrong. But they're not indie. They're definitely around the AA side. And just like a lot of studios who are in that realm, they are invested by and supported with a lot of companies that are bigger than them. They are just somehow able to avoid showing their logos all over the place like everyone else. They were able to sell out without suffering from any of the consequences that you will usually get from selling out. And the funny thing about this is that they don't even try to hide it. In the Glitch Direct, they openly say that they ended up having investors, and for me to find all this information, I didn't even have to do some secret dark web searching, do the thing where YouTubers pretend that them making a video like this and saying this information is going to put their life on the line because Glitch is going to send their assassins to find your location and drop a hydrogen bomb on me where I'm standing. No, I was just able to find this with a couple basic Google search. You don't even need to do that now because currently as the making of this video, they just put all their supporters on their website openly. So I just wasted my time finding all that information. All you have to do now is just scroll down. The information is out in the open. They're just acting this way as a marketing tactic because they know that most people inside their fan base are going to glaze every single decision that they do because they want to keep up this fantasy that they're supporting one of the little guys, and the majority of the people on the internet are dumb enough and don't do any research on their own. They're realistically never going to figure it out, so they don't even need to hide this information. And even if someone does go out of their way to go and say it, most people aren't just going to suddenly stop watching their things because they know Glitch isn't as small as they say they are. A lot of people just don't care. They're just going to watch the TV show because it's entertaining to them. And if you're someone who does really care that deeply and it burns your soul that if you ever figure this out in any other way, most people like that are probably just going to come up some delusional timeline, are just gonna make some delusional timeline or mental gymnastics to still support Glitch and say that they're little. It's really just a win-win scenario with them, and they can just be seen as one of the cool guys and make tons of more money. It's just good marketing. They're not the only studio to do this. The gaming industry has the exact same problem, but it's really bad over there. It could be a whole video of itself that I'm never gonna make. I only want to talk about one, and that's being Expedition 33. I know this comes out of nowhere in a Digital Circus and Glitch video, especially when you think about the fan base. The average Digital Circus fan is someone who is 12 or an adult who has the mental capacity of a 12-year-old, while the average fan of Expedition 33 is their older sibling and parents. But I have to talk about this. I'm going to get no other opportunity to, so I'm doing it right now. Expedition 33 is one of the most overglazed piece of media to ever exist. A lot of people will even say, with a straight face and being 100% serious, that's one of the greatest piece of media to ever exist in human history. I've heard multiple people say that. That is insane. Even though it's just a Persona clone with worse gameplay and a better story, but you're trying to beat the story of a Persona game, so it's not really that much of a competition. And they ended up doing the exact same thing where they praised themselves around to be one of the little guys, and everyone ended up saying that they fought back and really showed the evil gaming industry that this is how it's done with smaller studios, even though that makes no sense. The leader of the team is a actual Nepo baby who allegedly maybe got their money from Daddy Dearest, who owns a bunch of successful companies, and they also have a bunch of connections inside the gaming industry, which is how they're able to get an all-star cast of game developers from multiple different AAA studios and a full orchestra to do their soundtrack. And $10 million to make their game. You know, a small, not really that big budget. As we all know, people like me and you can just easily spawn $10 million out of nowhere. If you don't know how to do it, you're actually behind. The cheat code is just out in the open. I'm not going to tell it to you. I want to keep it to myself. This game truly shows the world and the other game developers that you can make a successful video game if you just keep on pushing out the same boring, derivative garbage, and people would gladly eat it up. If you make the right set of mediocre white men with a beard happy. You people are pathetic, bro. You always complain about, oh, everything is the same and blah, 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 and then actually just play the same thing over and over again. This is just we have Persona at home, but there's like, I don't know, white people in it or whatever. But maybe that's all you need. Oh, God. Ugh. Yucky. People are so gross, you make me sick. Back on topic, let me explain why this is a bad thing. It is for one very simple reason. It completely destroys the definition of the word indie when people think about it. Back then, when someone used to think about an indie product, they'll think about something that is made from a small team of people, or maybe even just one developer, putting all their time and effort to make something with little budget or none at all. And in my humble and correct opinion, I think this is the proper and correct way how society should view a word like this. The second you start getting tons of investors or money from the outside, you can't really use it anymore. And before someone starts playing the whole definition game that you only bring up so you can go and win an argument on the internet, yes, I know the actual definition of this is just an independent product. So even if you do get funded from outside sources, you are still technically indie. But let's be honest, you actually don't care about the real definition, so I'm not even gonna go and bring that up. Let's just go back on topic. Again, if you are someone like Glitch or just any of these companies that you ended up seeing doing this, you are the furthest thing from that. When people think about smaller productions now, they are going to think about companies like Glitch, giving people unrealistic expectations from smaller works of art. We are already seeing the effects of this right now. It can also be used so these companies can be shielded from any type of criticism. People on the internet likes to go easier on smaller pieces of media, something that I agree with completely. Especially if it's your first time making something, it's most likely not going to come out great. It's going to have a lot of mistakes. But these companies aren't small. They don't get that excuse. Opera GX is a prime example of this. It's a browser that still to this day is garbage and barely works, but people have this cult mindset that don't worry, they're gonna get better because they're small and they're learning, even though they're funded by $1 billion company that makes a lot of money. They have no excuse to be this bad. Combined with the fact that they do the cringe marketing tactic that I'm $1 billion company, but I'm gonna go act like your friend. I hate this so much. I know why they do it. It works. People in society love licking the toes of $1 million companies. It's everyone's favorite activity, not mine. I don't get why people do that for free. You know, PR is a job that pays a lot. And you know, sponsorships exist. I gotta be paid to glaze companies. But you people do it for free? Insane. But this tactic is just so cringe. Now, since I'm done saying this sentence, it seems like the next thing I should do is praise the creators of Smiling Friends and why they are people who ended up doing the same thing, selling their soul to $1 billion companies, but they're different because insert reason that makes no sense and making stuff up that contradicts all my points, and praise the person who makes Space King and talk about how amazing he is because he doesn't sell out or make merch. Even though, one, he does make merch, and two, the reason why Space King isn't sold out and seen everywhere is because it's heavily based off Warhammer, an IP that already exists. I don't think he wants the Super Mario Logan treatment. Also, Space King is just not funny. That show sucks. I think it's crazy that people look at you dead in the face and say stuff like Hazbin Hotel isn't funny, which is correct. But then they'll point at stuff like this and say peak comedy.
Instead of endless boys, it's simple to tempt us from his path as a test, which is why they have these boobies.
It's literally the same type of humor. Boring white millennial trying to relate to the youth humor. It's boring. Get that trash away from me. Now, did I bring that up so I can make fun of Space King and Smiling Friends because I think both of those shows are not funny? Only a little bit. I only bring that up so I can show you why this problem is never going to get fixed. If people like what you do on the internet, they will just throw away all the morals that they pretend to have and just create some delusion to defend what you're doing, no matter how terrible it is. So even though most people love to say that they hate big companies and we need to stop supporting them, the split second a creator or they make something that they like, everything that they said is thrown out the window and what they do needs to be justified. That's why this whole LARPing problem is never going to be fixed. So I'm just going to end this section saying this. I don't feel like participating in the brain dead AAA versus indie war, where a lot of people who like to LARP as indie supporters say that we need to stop supporting these big products no matter what, even though the people who say that only support and play very popular indie games or stuff from fake indie studios. So it's just a worthless conversation because you're not doing anything. You're not supporting anyone little. You just want to sound cool on the internet. So all I want to say is this. If you're someone who actually cares about art and the animation space and independent creators, please spend your time to research and find actual smaller productions and people who need the money and support them instead of companies pretending to be that. So I know you can't bring up the amazing digital circus without talking about the community and the drama that they get into. And I really wanted to have a whole section of this video just talking about that, but it's something that I'm not going to do in this one because the drama in this community is something that is so deep. If I just spend my time talking about it, this video will balloon to be around 3 times longer than it is, and I'm not even saying that to be over dramatic. I have actually have done test runs. It will be stupid long and I'm not gonna do that. I mean, if you just look at one part, like the creator of the show, Gooseworks, a racist transgender pick-me who has a Twitter account which I am so surprised is still up and haven't been deleted. Think about that sentence I just said. Really, let it absorb. I know most of you people's brain has been fried because I said multiple buzzwords and the majority of people are just rotted because of the internet. But for the people who are still sane, you probably realize how crazy that is, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. Talking about her alone is probably going to take 40 minutes. And even my original plan of, I'm just going to talk about one drama, the most current one as the making of the video, that's constantly changed. When I was writing the script of it, the most recent drama was Gooseworks getting mad at her fans for no reason. That's completely irrelevant because now the most relevant one is all of the old footage of the voice actors of them ended up being revealed that they were making racist joke back then, and that drama has single-handedly turned the amazing digital circus community into the amazing digital fort. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that, so I don't know if it's gonna be censored or not, but if it is, I think you guys know what I'm trying to say. Which I'm kind of happy that drama ended up happening because it keeps on proving a point that me and thousands of other people have been trying to drill into so much people's head on the internet and in real life, that there is no different from right-leaning communities and left-leaning communities. They are both the same, just as hateful, just as disgusting, and very disgustingly racist. Really, the only disagreement and difference that these people have in their opinion of gay people, that's it. Other than that, it's all the same over there. I mean, just go up to any of these communities and just say something like, I don't know, I think racism is bad, and watch real time all of them transforms into and try to just exterminate you. Hey, but let me stop. I don't want to be called offensive or light as centrist because I don't want to be surrounded with people who condone racism. Clown reality we live in. So all the drama and stuff I'm going to bring up in a video that I'm going to make in the future. Okay, I'm just saying this because I'm probably going to put some of it in the thumbnail for views. So me kind of talking about it, I really didn't clickbait you, and I'm also going to make a title card for it as well. So I told the truth kind of maybe a little bit. Now let's talk about the actual show. Speedrun opinion on it, I think the show is just perfectly fine. It's mid, a 5 or 6 out of 10, and before some bot gets angry at me saying that that's a very bad score, no it's not. And it's kind of sad that this show is so average, there's nothing really like hilarious to talk about it, not even some weird funny thing that I could go bring up. Let me use another indie show for example. Has Been Hotel is cartoonishly racist, so if I ever make a video about that, I could have a whole section just talking about that thing, and who knows, maybe the video can do very well because I can be the first person to bring that up. I can't even do that with this show over here, so I'm just gonna go give my opinion on the show and just, I don't even care if I say something unique or not, I'm just gonna say whatever. I enjoy it. I think the concept of it is amazing. You being trapped inside this circus where you're unable to leave. You're also trapped with other people. Insert unfunny antisocial joke here. The body horror aspects of it, where you are you, but not really, because you have this brand new digital body which could be anything. Some people clearly got the better end of the stick. You know, a person like Jax still kind of looks like a normal human person, but then you have a character like Pomni. She looks like some weird anime lolly doll looking things. Just look at her cartoonishly massive head and just compare it to anyone else. It straight up looks like when Mario stands next to a Fire Emblem character in Smash. It just looks weird. And later on in the show, when you end up seeing how the first group of people ended up looking where they came inside the circus, where like someone is some small egg thing and this person is just full on a worm. I have no idea how you ended up adapted to that mentally. Like, how did Scratch the dog ended up abstracted first? He just looks like an average furry that someone will draw thousands of art about. There is no character in this show that I dislike. Yes, a lot of them do fall into some brand new indie stereotypes. You know, Jax is the generic troublemaker. Pomni is the Tumblr girl. On the same brand of Charlie from Has Been Hotel, but she falls into a different category. Like, both of their subclass are Tumblr girls, but there are different categories in the Tumblr girl archetype. And then Gangle, I mean, she's literally just a walk-in stereotype. Oh man, I used to be in art school and I tried to be an artist, but life ended up happening and I just couldn't pursue it anymore. And now I'm just a boring fast food manager. Oh man, I never seen a character written like this before in an indie show. This is the first time ever. This truly shows the world that people aren't sick of just generic boring white characters that everyone complains about. What they truly want is generic boring white characters, but they're gay. But even though that is the case, I'm just gonna do the thing that most people do when they find something that they reasonably enjoy and warp my reality pretending that a lot of these characters aren't stereotypes and just lie to myself that they actually have a deeper meaning to the way that they act and that they're written. One complaint that I see a lot of people throw at this show is that it feels really rushed, and I just don't understand how people come down to this conclusion. There are a lot of rushed products in just every size project, That's a terrible sentence. I really wrote that down thinking that I was cooking. There are a lot of rushed products, especially inside the indie space. I could just use another glitch show for an example, Murder Drum. This is a prime example of Russian. That show, you barely know what's going on most of the time, even though it is filled to the brim with goo goo gaga ABC dialogue, and they still somehow come out being confusing. That is a rush show. But that really shouldn't be surprising because you can clearly tell with something like Murder Drum, they're coming up with the story as they go, which is why every episode they just yank you into a completely different direction. They're really making it up as they go. They're on that Jujutsu Kaisen grind set. As for Amazing Digital Circus, I just think the show is short. A lot of the character arcs end real quickly. Look at Gangles and Zubul. I don't think you really need to go that deep into them because you can already see what's happening and they have a pretty good resolve. And I also think we're going to learn more about them when we actually go into the last episode of the show. Even other characters like Ragatha didn't really need to be focused on that much because you can see the arc that she's going through behind the scenes of her being very overbearing and a demanded presence, and people not really messing with that because those super clingy people are very annoying most of the time, even though they do come out of good intention. And she also has a scene where King Kinger, where she sits down and talk about that problem and she tries to not do that anymore. The arc completes itself. What more do you want? Can't really say much about Kinger. I think we're going to learn more about him in the last episode. I do wish we got more interactions with him and his wife so we could see their relationship a little bit more before she got the Green Lantern fridge treatment. But I think the only reason why she was shown on screen is so they can go make a merch of her. Wait. Let's go back real quick and let's see how Queenie sounds. Yeah, I smell that. Melanin. So let me get this straight. One of the only few black characters in this show solely exists as a plot device to get disposed to benefit the growth of a male character. I found it. I actually did it, boys. Disposable black girlfriend and the fridge trope. Oh my god, I knew it. I knew it could be done. I just had to search hard enough. I'm telling you, bro, when all of these white writers, I think it's actually impossible for them to not add something racist or misogynistic in their show. I think it will kill them if it doesn't happen. And the thing that really gets me about this, the thing that completely makes me just drop on the floor dead, is that the community reaction to these tropes will always be the same. First, you will have someone call it out saying that, hey, this is extremely dangerous. It's a trope. We need to do something to stop this. But oops, the person who ended up calling this out had too much melanin in their skin. So obviously the fandom went racist mode and they had to be exterminated. And then a couple of months or a year later, from the sky, a mediocre white person or racially ambiguous person will come out of the sky, say the exact same thing that the first person said, but for some weird reason that I still don't understand why, their words are taken seriously and valid, and then the fandom pretend that, yeah, I always knew this was an issue. I was just waiting for someone else to do it, or waiting for someone to have the balls. Mark my words, okay? This is going to happen when this show ends. I'm positive it's going to happen when this show ends. I guarantee you, because it's like that in every single community. It's so funny. Jax, I like the direction they're going with his character. Again, even though it is a very stereotypical trope of him pretending to act all tough because he doesn't want to show people's real side. He's just a little soft boy. He's just a chill guy, just like one of us. He doesn't want to get his feelings hurt. He's so relatable, such a nice, quirky, Chungus Chun, am I right? Really, the only character that I have a problem with is Pomni. She does a good job of being a following main protagonist, a fish out of water in the unfamiliar zone, and she's good at just inserting yourself in, as you can imagine yourself in this situation, through her. And yeah, we did also ended up getting her backstory that she was making YouTube videos back then on a channel that no one watched. God, people in this world these days, the fact that there's so much people like this in real life who spends their time working on garbage internet videos that no one watch. Like, my lord, how about you spend your time actually doing something relevant, like trying to get a better job than working at a supermarket. You could go and start your own business with all those skills that you're picking up, but no, you gotta go and make garbage trash. Ridiculous. But let's stop talking about these irrelevant nobodies that no one cares about. We have to bring up the best character in the whole show, the GOAT, who steals 99% of the screen time and has all of the funniest jokes. Kinger. Him and his Bubble, both of them have the funniest jokes of all time, especially Bubble. So many good jokes that they have. And the song that he ended up having, banger. I ended up listening to this so much, especially the Miku and Vocaloid covers of this. When this dropped, that whole community just ate it up, and that was amazing. I was even thinking about making one of my own using the GOAT, the Foku, a name that I still have a hard time pronouncing. I still might actually go and make it. And the way how they ended up presented his backstory with that weird AI code testing that they ended up doing, amazing. Yes, I know that he's basically just but, you know, all quirky and gay. But I don't care. He's amazing. He's beautiful. He is my Tumblr sexy man. Which is why I have to wonder, why did they have to go and make him go evil? Look at the way how he ended up acting and treating other people. Telling them that he's gonna put these freaks back in their place. He wouldn't act like this. the Kane that I know, the one that I fell in love with and self-shit myself with, will never do something like him. Me and him are gonna lie down together on the beach, sipping whatever you drink on the beach, looking at the sunset as I'm gonna talk to him and tell him that he is cool. He does matter. I don't care what Jax and all these other people who pretend not to care about him. I'll gladly go and play his adventures and hang out with him. He deserves better. And I don't know if this ended up happening, but I saw on the VA's voice channel that it looks like he ended up losing the favorite character poll. I don't care. I'm not going to do my research and check that this is real. How could this be possible? How dare you people pick Gangle? You pick Gangle over the GOAT? The world is unfair. Anyway, here's a quick tier list of what I think about every single episode. Anyway, that's it. My name, well, I don't know what my name is, but we'll see. Goodbye.